Okay, hot topic for today is, should I update my practice? Should I renovate my practice? Or should I relocate my practice? It's that time of year when we start thinking fresh ideas and let's change things up. So stay tuned. Hi, Janice Wheeler here from The Art of Management, Inc. We're a Canadian practice management company that has been steadily working with healthcare professionals for the last 32 years, helping them expand their practices and have more fun and love their practice again and all those good things. And today's topic is something that's coming up with a bunch of our clients. Should I update my practice? A minor thing, we'll talk about that. Or should I renovate the whole thing? Or should I just relocate? So update, renovate, or relocate. Those are the three choices that we're going to talk about today. So the first one is, should I update my practice? Now, if it's been more than 5 years since you did an update, it's something that you should seriously consider as a minimum action. Because when patients come in time after time and they see the same decor and so on, it's, you could say it's comforting, but it's not really. It's Dullsville. And it's like normal, and there's no excitement, and there's no, oh, what am I going to see this time? And I know some practices that change, paint, change artwork. One of the easiest fixes is actually artwork, where you get a local art gallery. For instance, one of our clients did that a million years ago. It was a great idea from one of our consultants, my husband. At the time was the sole consultant. Now we have a number of them, but he told this chiropractor that to take down all the, in reception, in the sitting area, all these pictures of spines and men with muscles revealed and stuff like that, very medical looking, and instead get the local art gallery to put up some paintings on consignment, and they can put a little card saying price tag and their information in the corner of each one. And I don't know if it's solely responsible for the stats zooming up, but this gentleman, this doctor, went up by about 50% increase when he didn't think it was possible. And it was simply very easy things. There was a lot of other stuff that was done, but one of the most commented on things by patients was the lovely art that was on the walls, and they looked forward to seeing it. So, hey, and here's one thing I suggest is that you can actually move them from room to room, like once a month. Shift the art pieces to different rooms so that when people come in, they see a different one in reception, and then the room that they go to for their treatment may have a different one, maybe the same one, depending on the size of your practice. But, it's very inexpensive. In fact, I was looking at Wayfair, which is an online store where you can buy many things, including artwork. And they have awesome paintings for $50 and up to $100, $150. You can buy more expensive, but you don't need to. I'm telling you, I want to redecorate my house just for the fun of it, for the colors and so on. And make sure, like, if you have gray walls or beige walls or anything that's fairly neutral background, it is an awesome idea to get very colorful artwork that suits you. Now, if you don't love flowers, don't get ones that are flowery. If you don't love abstract, don't get abstract. But get ones that are upbeat, that make people feel better, because you are a healthcare practice and you need to have ones where people go, oh, I feel uplifted just looking at that painting. Okay? So my dentist has a beautiful two paintings that go together. It's a path going through a watery area, and so you're walking on a raised walkway with trees, and it's just beautiful. I love sitting there and looking at it while she's doing my work, working on my teeth. So anyway, so using artwork is one way. Going through the practice once a month to make sure things have not gotten all cluttered. I can tell you the reception desk is the first turn off when a patient walks in and sees things piled on the counter, notices pasted on the front of the reception desk, I've seen those in a lot of practices, although less nowadays, I have to say, than 32 years ago, where it was really common. NSF checks will be charged, $25 or something like that. And it was like, I'm sitting there in the waiting area reading this message and going, oh my God, do they have trouble with people here? Like, what kind of practice am I in? So just so you know, so those kind of messages are verbally or given to an individual person in writing and not pasted everywhere for people to see. So there's other things that you can do to update your look. I mean, you can, not right now because we're in COVID lockdown and, well, not everywhere, but certainly very stringent rules about sterilization. So you can't have magazines right now, but it will come to pass probably within about, what did they estimate? About 2 to 3 months. We'll be able to do things normally again. So it means you could have magazines because those are cool for people when they walk in. But another alternative is having, I've seen an office where they had iPads and they were on a little pole that's nailed to the floor and the iPad is fastened to it. So when you sat down in the waiting area, you could play on this thing. You would simply have to sterilize it down if we're still in those protocols, right? But people can actually check their email or whatever. A lot of people have their cell phones now, so it's not necessarily a bad thing that you don't have magazines or anything at this time, but it's a nice feature. I'm just thinking about things where you can just update the look. Obviously, most practices don't have broadloom or carpeting anymore. You may have it in the reception area, which is totally fine, or you might have a carpet there or something if you're using couches or whatever, but you can change those simple things up. There's very inexpensive places to get those things. There are coffee table changes that can be made. Nothing huge, but just spend a little bit of money. It's excellently spent because it shows people that you are doing well and that you are constantly making their comfort one of your priorities. So updating is a good thing. You obviously can't paint your walls once a month, but you could put up wallpaper every couple of years and change it and take it down because there's very removable wallpaper nowadays. There's stunning wallpaper. Like, don't get something boring, the regular everyday, not very upbeat looking. Get stunning wallpaper. It's out there. One of our clients has 3 different rooms with 3 different stunning wallpapers that are just like, first question I had was, where did you get those? I've promptly forgotten, so sorry, can't help you out on that. But these are things you can do to update. So that's number 1. So now a deeper dive into changing things up would be to renovate. I have seen practices that are cut up into weird configurations. So you might go as deep a dive as having walls moved and configured better and things like that. So you stay in your location, but you can get more treatment rooms in, or make the reception area be where 2 people can sit, where right now only 1 can, which is a bottleneck because you should have 2 for the size of your practice. I've met, well, frankly, dentists who have 3 operatories, which is just suck city nowadays. Sorry for the technical term, but it makes it a very unsaleable practice in terms of ultimate exchange of funds from the buyer to the seller. It has less value, and you can treat fewer people, so you lose $25,000 to $30,000 a month having only 3 operatories instead of 4. I mean, it's just a mathematical question, and if you do proper scheduling and have awesome staff who are really trained in it, like we actually really make sure that there's a scheduling plan that is properly adhered to and makes your life easy, and doing 4 ops is not harder than doing 3. All right, so so renovating to allow for these things. For a chiropractor, if you have 2 treatment rooms, maybe you want to put 2 more in and take over the kitchen. Oh, sorry, staff. But the floor space of a practice is very valuable real estate, and the more service can be delivered by your practice to more people by your space, then it makes that real estate even more valuable. So that's something to think about. I've seen some people that have huge treatment rooms. They're completely unnecessary. They took over a house or something and just stayed with the living room, bedroom, kitchen, as the rooms, but they're huge and out of proportion. So sometimes it's worth spending the money rather than moving. If you own the place, rather than moving into a bigger one, why not take the one you've got and divide it up properly so that it's apportioned correctly by what's needed by each room. So there are a lot of different things you can do to update the look. I've been in practices that have old wood paneling because it was very current back in the 60s and 70s. Not so much now. But if it is new, make sure it stays looking new. The ones that I saw were very tired looking. They had been coated at one time with a clear resin of some sort that was wearing off and starting to peel. And you got to look at your office with new eyes and go, how would this look? Go around your area and look at the most upscale practices and try and make yours better. All right, because people do talk about these things. Yeah, I don't know how my doctor's doing. I mean, he's getting older, she's getting older, and the place looks like it. And but maybe you should try so-and-so. I heard she has a really cool healthcare professional, whatever profession. These things happen. And your decor is part of your PR and how it looks and so on. But part of your income is, are you utilizing your spaces correctly and to the maximum? So that again is something to look at. So that's the deep dive, Renovate. But the deepest dive at all is Relocate. And we've got a number of clients who are building new locations, buying locations and renovating them and so on, because they want to expand their practice and they need to move into bigger quarters because they are growing, or they want to grow some more. And they need a bigger space because they can't do any more where they are right now. So sometimes they keep the existing one and just build an additional one somewhere far enough away that you're not competing with each other, and dividing the patients between two locations instead of having its own set of patients in one set of patients that love the other location. So, so then you can look at, well, what it is that you want. Like, you want to own it, or you want to move to another rental where you can have the 10-year lease and with options. Make sure you have options after the 10 years. The banks don't like anything less than 10-year leases. And nothing says you have to buy it. You can rent it. It's just part of your overhead. When you buy a house or a condo or something to move your practice into, by the time you finish paying your 25-year mortgage, you've bought 5 of those offices. So the, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or Poor Dad, Rich Dad, I think it's Rich Dad, Poor Dad book. There's a sequel to it, and he talks in there, should you rent or should you buy? And he's ambivalent about it. He says it all depends on you. And I've always been of the same mindset myself, because I would rather put the money into other things that would make us the same or more income that I prefer. And I don't mind moving once in a while. I think it's kind of fun. A little expensive for certain healthcare professions where you're plumbed and wired and all those things. But, 10 or 15 years later, I have a client who built a 20-op practice in a rental. Now it's a new building, and she has a large part of the top floor, and it's awesome. I've seen it in person. And it basically, she has enough lease additions to last her 30 years, which is well past her time, and whoever her successor is will be there at least 15 years before running out of leases. And honestly, unless the landlord wants to tear the place down, and I doubt it because it's fairly new, they're not going to want to lose a dental office out of that floor. So, because everybody knows that they're very good tenants. So, and that's true for all the healthcare professions. Therefore, renting is not a bad thing. Just make sure you have a good lease and good renewals if you want them. All right, so there's today's message. You can update, or you can renovate, or you can relocate. And if you like this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have playlists there with topics covering almost anything. I think I have over 100 videos up there that I give you some information on all these different topics to do with practice management. And share the video if you like it, and give me a like. And if you want a free practice analysis, I'm going to throw this in there. If you want a free practice analysis, it's free. It's a chance for us to get to know each other, for me to analyze your practice and show you what it should be billing and what could be billing, and how you would go about getting there. So let's find out if we're a good partner or not in your practice growth. And we've worked with 1,800 practices for a year each, and sometimes a lot more. And so we're very expert in almost any aspect of practice management. So there you go. So if you want one of those, give me a call, because I love doing them. I've done 6,000, and every single person is so interesting, and their situations are so individual and unique. I love it. So call me. Thank you. Bye.
To get your practice analyzed, contact the Art of Management at 416-466-6217.